Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have something truly special. If you've ever considered investing in SCHD, Charles Schwab's US Dividend Equity ETF, or you're already a fan, you're going to want to hear this. We're diving deep into the mindset, strategy, and life story of the one and only SCHD Stan, also known as Craig Sutton. He's an everyday investor with a not-so-everyday portfolio, with 6 figures invested into SCHD and a goal of hitting $1 million in this ETF alone. Craig's journey is packed with insight, discipline, and motivation that any investor can learn from. So let's jump right into it. Alright, first things first. Why do they call him SCHD Stan? Well, it all started on Twitter, where Craig wanted to be part of the financial conversation. But instead of just casually posting here and there, he decided to do something different. He created an entire account focused on one thing: SCHD. He didn't have a formal investing background, no finance degree, nothing like that, just a deep passion for learning, reading, and sharing. He found that the more he focused on a single topic, the more engaged his audience became, so he leaned in. And the name? Inspired by the Eminem song Stan, about being a superfan, Craig ran with that idea. And honestly, it fits, because if there's anyone who embodies diehard conviction in an ETF, it's this guy. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Craig started investing in SCHD around 2016, but his actual investing journey started earlier. Right after getting his first full-time job, his grandmother gave him some money and encouraged him to open a retirement account. That push led him to commit to investing a fixed percentage of every paycheck. And get this, Craig is originally from Canada, where retirement accounts can be used as down payments for a first home. So years later, when he and his fiancée were ready to buy in Toronto, they used their retirement savings. It was a game changer. They bought their first home, rode the booming real estate market, and leveraged that momentum into bigger and better properties. Then when they moved to Florida, they sold their Toronto home at peak market and used a small portion for a house in the US. The rest, straight into investing. Now, this is where things really clicked. Interest rates dropped to near zero. Holding cash no longer made sense. Craig opened a Schwab account and started exploring ETFs. SCHD popped up on a no-fee list, and it caught his eye because of its dividend yield and strong fundamentals. He read books like Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game, which emphasized simplicity, low-cost investing, and long-term thinking. He was already putting money into the S&P 500, but SCHD added something different: stability, dividend income, and long-term growth potential. Even more, it outperformed the S&P in some of the most unexpected years, like 2021, during a frothy market period. So, while everyone else was chasing speculative stocks, SPACs, and meme hype, Craig was watching SCHD quietly outperform. That's when he made the decision to go big. When SCHD pulled back, he saw it as a buying opportunity, not a red flag. He's not an automatic investor, he watches for red days. When the price dips, he loads up. Today he receives roughly $4,000 in annual dividends just from SCHD alone. That's about $1,000 per quarter, and instead of dripping automatically, he reinvests manually, strategically. If he sees a discount, he buys. If the market's hot, he holds off. Craig's total portfolio is diversified. About 60% is in dividend stocks, and of that, SCHD makes up nearly half. But don't get it twisted. He also owns S&P 500 index funds, growth ETFs like SCHG, and a few select growth stocks. So why so much love for SCHD? Let me break it down. First, the methodology. SCHD isn't your average dividend ETF. It screens for quality, return on equity, cash flow to debt ratio, dividend growth, yield, and more. This isn't just about chasing high yielders, it's about finding solid companies with long-term potential. Second, dividend growth. SCHD's yield is around 4%, but the real magic is in the growth. Over the past decade, dividend growth has averaged over 12%. That means your yield on cost can double every 6 to 7 years. Third, rebalancing. Every year, SCHD replaces lower-yielding stocks with higher-yielding ones. That ensures a consistently strong yield and built-in value investing. It's like an automatic quality filter. Now, what about the criticism? Yeah, SCHD has underperformed recently. It's trailed behind the S&P and some newer, flashier ETFs, like JEPQ, DJRO, or YieldMax products that are throwing out 12% to 20% yields. But Craig's take? Be careful with shiny objects. Anything paying 18% yield should raise eyebrows. Sure, the income is tempting, but is it sustainable? Is it tax efficient? Are you sacrificing total return or long-term growth? Craig personally avoids most of the ultra-high yielders. The only covered call ETF he's dabbled in is SPII by NEOS because it offers some tax advantages and has a reasonable yield with more stability. Ultimately, SCHD is part of his long-term plan. He sees it as a total return ETF, one that pays you while you wait and compounds like crazy. The goal? Hit $1 million in SCHD by 2033. That might sound wild, but Craig's a believer in setting crazy goals. He shared stories about how that mindset has changed his life. From meeting his childhood hero from The Last Dragon, to hitting a 300-pound bench press goal after graduation, and now potentially paying for his daughter's college with dividends. He's living proof that big goals drive big results. So will he live off dividends? That's the plan. But even more than that, he wants to build a portfolio that outlives him, to pass down to his kids, to create generational wealth. He keeps some SCHD in a taxable account, which lets him use the income without selling shares or paying early withdrawal penalties. Yes, some of it's in a Roth IRA too, thanks to the backdoor method since he's in a higher income bracket now, but he prefers to keep growth funds like SCHG in the Roth to avoid capital gains later. Eventually, when retirement nears, he plans to reduce exposure to growth and shift more into income, either by reallocating from growth ETFs or pausing contributions and letting the dividends do the work. Now, what about young investors? Craig says don't wait. The earlier you start, the more powerful the compounding effect becomes. He sees SCHD not just as a retirement ETF but as an accumulation tool. Even for people in their 20s and 30s, he sees room for a balanced approach. SCHD for stability and income, SCHG or S&P 500 for growth. He even offered a modern twist on the classic bond allocation rule. You know the one, your age equals your bond percentage? Well, flip that idea. Use your age as a guide for how much to allocate to SCHD or dividend stocks instead. That way, as you get older, you gradually increase your income exposure. And finally, when asked how it feels to see $1,000 in dividend income land in his account every quarter, Craig keeps it real. It feels amazing. But it's not about flexing. He rarely tells friends. He shares on Twitter because that's his investing community. That's where people get it. If he wasn't using that income to pay for his daughter's education or investing for the next generation, he'd probably just keep reinvesting it. Because that's who he is. A long-term thinker, a builder, a guy who gets more joy out of compounding dividends than buying fancy toys. His advice to new investors? Don't overthink it. Just start. Take 10% or 20% of your paycheck and throw it into a low-cost S&P 500 fund or SCHD. Set it on autopilot. Learn as you go. Don't wait until you've got it all figured out. Even if you never become an expert, that simple system will put you ahead of most people. And if you're already in the game and feeling discouraged about SCHD's recent performance, remember this. Every investment has its ups and downs. Every dip looks obvious in hindsight, and the hardest times to buy usually end up being the best times to buy. So stay the course. Keep your head down, keep investing. As Craig would say, take care of your health. Take care of your family, set big goals, and let your portfolio work for you while you live your life. Because one day, those dividends won't just be numbers on a screen. They'll be paying for your kids' college, covering your retirement, or building a legacy that lasts beyond you. And that's what long-term investing is all about. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more investing stories, and check out the next video where we explore how to build the perfect 3 ETF portfolio for 2025. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay invested.